I just want to say that, I am really happy that people are coming out to learn about our connection to technology and how it can do some good and do some bad, and maybe being more mindful about how we use technology. So we're all in this together. If you ever have any questions or comments or need clarifications, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. As I said, I have another computer off to my side where I am able to see the chat. I'd be happy to stop what I'm saying and answer your questions. And if you are feeling uncomfortable for any reason, or it's too overwhelming right now and you need to step away, don't feel afraid to do so. If you leave the Zoom, I'm not going to be offended. All this being said, we are going to go over some things about our phones, our Android phones, and our iPhones. Um, I am not an expert, and I really wish I could, help you one on one with all of your questions, but we just don't have the time to do that in an hour. So I will be going over some very general ways during this presentation on changing your settings in your phone and stuff like that. But if you do have questions, again, please put them in the chat, or feel free to come to the library and ask me any of the things that we talk about today. I'd be glad to help you with in person as well. So I am going to get started. So, how many times do you think you pick up your phone in a day? Um, Whether it's just to look at the time, to check your email, because you got a notification and the sound went off and you want to see who it is. Pop in the chat if you want to take a guess about how many times you think you pick up your phone in a day. 25. Bonnie says 25. Okay, that's a pretty good guess. So, according to a Statistica survey, nearly half of the respondents stated that on average they spent 5 to 6 hours on the phone on a daily basis, not including work related smartphone use, with at least 37 minutes of that time being spent on social media. So, most people spend 5 to 6 hours on their phone, which is, that can be anything from, like we said, checking our email, looking at social media, playing games, um, you know, online shopping. There's so many things that we can do with our phone nowadays. But this is the thing that really surprised me. DSCAT reported that in their study about phone usage, that the average phone user tapped, swiped, and clicked their phone a whopping number of 2,617 times each day. So think about that for a second. Um, every time you pick up your phone, you're doing lots of different things on it. That's a lot of time during the day that you're spending on your phone, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Our phones give us a lot of enjoyment and access to things that are nice. But it can really cut into not only our well-being, but encourage behavior, cause anxiety, stuff like that, which is why I developed this presentation. Sometimes it's good to have a digital reset. It's hard to realize how dependent we are on our phones and how those apps and services that are on our phones, that we use every day, are dependent on us as well. You know, just because an app says it's free doesn't mean it's actually free. A lot of the times that the things that we use, including social media, is using our data as its currency. So a digital detox is a really good idea to, number one, control your digital traces. So what information you are sharing with others willingly and unwillingly. Reduce your stress and anxiety. I'm sure you feel the same way that I do. Our stress and anxiety has gone up very much in the last 2 years, and our phones can be a good way to alleviate that, but also encourage that. And it can also improve your sleep habits. The light emitted from computers and our phones, which is called blue light, can really interrupt your sleep cycle or even helping you get sleepy. So, kind of detoxing from your phone can be a good way to redevelop a good sleep schedule as well. So I'm going to go over some best practices that we could do on our phones that are very simple, very unobtrusive, but really, really help not only with your well being, but your phone's well being. So the first thing I have is really, really simple. It's changing your device's name. You wouldn't walk into a coffee shop and yell out your name. I wouldn't walk into Starbucks and just be like, "Hello, my name is Amy and I am here." So it makes sense that your phone shouldn't be that way either. This is just a really simple and effective way to keep your phone safe and away from snoopers. Um, I know I'm guilty of this all the time. I'll be using my Bluetooth or my GPS and I forget to turn it off on my phone, and it's just on all the time as I walk around, which is not great on your phone's battery life, but it also means that people who want to maybe peek at your information have an easier time of doing so. So that's why I like to always change my phone's name. There are different ways to do this depending on your phone. um, for the Android phone, which is the image on the left hand side. And I know it's really tricky with Android phones because they're all a little bit different. But the easiest way to do it is to go to your settings, about phone, and then you'll see your device name, like you kind of see in this picture right over here. I always like to give my devices a fun name, making sure that it doesn't have any personal or identifying information. So I'm not going to call my phone Amy's phone, or Amy's phone and then my address. That would be very, very silly. So pick something fun. For an iPhone, that's going to be the picture on the right hand side over here with the red arrow. You would change your device name by going to Settings, General, and then About Name. So this is the About section, and you can see name, and it says Matt's iPhone. Not the best practice. Because again, if for some reason um, someone is able to see your phone through a Bluetooth network or a Wi-Fi network, you don't want them to know it's your phone. Um, I always name my devices after characters from Batman. I don't know why. I don't even really watch Batman stuff anymore, but there are so many different characters in that series, it makes it easier for me. So, just a really easy trip and best practices for your phone. Another good thing to do is delete any unnecessary apps. So this is a win-win. Not only are you freeing up space on your phone, that makes it more efficiently and keeps your battery going for longer. It gives you less distractions. If you have all these apps on your phone, there's so many things to get distracted by, so many games, so many things to check, so many notifications, as you can see in this little picture, all those little red bubbles on each of the apps. But also, it decreases how much data you're putting out there. You know, companies can still collect data about your phone and how you use it, even if you're not using their app. So I could have an app that I haven't used in a year, and it's still collecting data about how I use my phone, which stinks. So why not? Why, there's no point of giving your data away if you're not even using something like that. So I always like to do an app audit every season. So anytime it's like the spring solstice or, start a first day of summer, beginning of fall, I like to look at my phone and see what apps I have on there. I ask myself if there's anything I really, really need, or if there's an alternative app that doesn't take as much space, or if I have a lot of the same thing. Um, do I really need Netflix on my phone? Am I ever watching Netflix on my phone? Why do I have all these phone games? I only really play one. And then I end up deleting those apps. Again, each phone is a little bit different. For Android phones, there are a few ways you can do it. Sometimes you can just drag it and then it'll give you an option to uninstall. But the easiest way to see all the apps on your phone is by going to the settings and then applications, and then you can select an app from the list of apps that you have on your phone and then uninstall it from there. For iPhone, you've probably done this on accident. I know I have multiple times, but you press and hold on one app and then it kind of starts shaking. Um, then you can delete the app from the list there, and then you would just confirm, yes, I'd like to delete this. It's just a good habit to get into. A lot of our phones come with stuff, so unfortunately, there are things we can't delete even though we don't use them because they're built into our phone. And be mindful too, if you've paid to use a service or an app, but you find that you're not using it anymore, make sure you've canceled any potential future charges because you don't want to delete the app and then you're still spending money on it. That would be the worst thing ever. Any questions about changing your device name or deleting apps from your phone? Okay, not seeing any questions right now, but if you do have one, pop it in the chat. I'll see it over here on the side. Location settings. So this is another really good one to change for you. Does every app need to know where you are? Um, Curating which apps use their location services not only protects you, but also makes your phone run a lot smoother. I often find if my phone's going really slow, I'm like, what's going on? It's because I have my GPS on. Your location data can reveal a lot about who you are, from something obvious like your age to something even more intense like where you are. Yeah. Apps use your location settings to track and record your movements without you even knowing it sometimes and can give more information than what you might want to. So each app has a different way of using your location settings. I really like on the left hand side, you can see that picture location permissions. That's for the Android device. They now have an option that's only while using the app, or ask every time to use location permissions, which I think is very, very helpful. Whereas the Android has location services that you could turn on, and you can see in the menu below, some of them say never, some of them say while using. I find that's a better way. It's so much better for your battery life. So if you feel like your phone is constantly draining, it's probably because of your location permissions and your location settings. This is another one where it's a little bit goofy. Oh, let me let Carol in. It's a little bit goofy to figure out how to change all of them. For Android, like we were talking about in the previous slide, if you look at all your applications, you'd be able to go into each one and see their location permissions. Whereas on the iPhone, it'd be under your privacy menu and under location services. And then you can see how each app is using your stuff. So it could be if your phone is really slow and just really not working well, it could be that a lot of apps are using location services. So worth checking out. So I think we've all experienced this. You're on social media and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and it just never stops and never ends. Um, there's a reason for that. um, Apps are designed to pull us in and keep us engaged. Not only does that mean we're spending more time on the app and using their services more, it also means that they're getting more data about how you're using their app. Um, and this is called dark pattern design. So, a dark pattern is a user interface that has been carefully crafted to trick users into doing things. So, like I just said before, the endless scroll. It feels like there's lots and lots of updates and things going on Facebook, and it keeps going and going, and there's a never an end to it. That's a dark pattern that Facebook uses to keep you engaged on their website, in the app. Um, Lots of different services use this. Basically, any social media service has something called dark pattern design, but there are other places that use something like this as well. So I have two examples of dark patterns. There is a really great website called darkpatterns.org that kind of track this and talk about ways that people kind of trick us into doing things, which sounds a lot scarier than it is. But honestly, it is really harmful. It makes people feel anxiety about missing out on things. Um, it makes people feel like they're being left out. It can cause guilt, shame. It's not a nice feeling. So on the left hand side, we have one from Credit Karma, which is a service that monitors your credit report. And this is called a disguised ad. So it's using this notification that says, "Stop everything, Joshua. Your karma monthly just dropped." And they're using this on purpose. They're using the word dropped on purpose because, as I mentioned before, Credit Karma is used to monitor your credit score. And so seeing the word dropped when it comes to your credit score doesn't make you feel good. And so you're going to click on that notification to tap and see your karma monthly because you think your credit score dropped. And then on the right hand side, we have another example of dark patterns, and this is called confirm shaming. So this person is trying to cancel their New York Times subscription, and there's no easy way to do it. You have to talk to someone, either by chat or by calling. So making you call to cancel a service creates a lot of guilt because you have to tell someone that you don't want to use something. And even just the act of calling or contacting someone can be too much for someone, and they won't call and they'll keep getting charged, $7.99 a month, just because they have to talk to a person. Or when they do talk to that person, they give them a better deal. Like, if you stay for another 3 months, we'll give you 50% off. And then in 3 months, you're right back where you started. So these are just ways that companies, apps, and the internet can kind of trick us into using it more and more and more. And in some cases, like the New York Times, keep taking our money instead of letting us cancel a very easy way. So what can we do about it? Now that I've kind of scared everyone, what can we do to kind of break those dark patterns, break our dependency on things like social media, and stop feeling like we've been left out? So a really good way is just to be in the present, away from your phone. And if you do use your phone a lot, this can be the hardest first step because you kind of have to break your patterns to get away. Um, a lot of phones actually have tools for this built into your device right now. The best thing I like to do is set limits, especially for social media. So for the social media apps I have on my phone, I give myself a time limit for how long I can use it. So for Facebook, I only have 30 minutes a day. Instagram, like also 30 minutes a day, things like that. Um, so I don't keep looking at it all the time. And you can also change your notification settings too. It's really hard to ignore your phone if it's chiming all the time because so and so commented on your Facebook post, or someone liked this thing, or hey, this person just posted. It's like a constant barrage of notifications, and most of them, let's be real, are not super important. So changing your notification settings to get less notifications equals less time on your phone. For Android, they have an app built into most of the Android phones. If not, you can also download it from the Google Play Store, and it's called Digital Wellbeing. I have a picture of it on the left hand side, the one with the wheel. This allows you to set timers on apps. It lets you set a bedtime mode, which I'll talk about on the next slide. See your usage stats, so you can see on this little circle, this person has spent 3 hours and 22 minutes on their phone today, and it looks like they spent most of their time on YouTube, so watching videos, Chrome, which could be, looking up stuff online, shopping, who knows, their email, they've done a lot of their messages. But look at how many times they've unlocked their phone. They've only been on for 3 hours and they've unlocked their phone 200 times. I'm very bad at math, but that's a lot of times per hour. um, and then for iPhone, they have something set into their settings called screen time. So it's very similar to the Android one. It lets you allows you to set timers on your apps. see what your most used apps are. So it's a little different, as you can see on the screen time on the in the right hand picture. They'll tell you the amount of time that you've used your phone and then the types of apps you're using. So this person has been doing a lot of entertainment watching on their phone. They've spent half of their time on their device on entertainment, and then another significant portion on games. So it's a nice way as a wake up call to see what you've been doing. You can also set a downtime on here too, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Again, every phone is different, unfortunately. The digital well-being app I see on most Android phones, so it's very easy to find. And the screen time app is now built into the settings of your iPhone. So it's good to poke around in there. I always like to see how I'm using my phone and see where I can cut down. I will say setting timers on those social media apps has been very good because, um, you know, you don't feel like you're missing out as much. And if you're a person who spends hours and hours on those types of apps, you can start kind of pulling back and detoxing from things like that. Any questions about digital well-being apps for your phone? Not seeing anything. And I should say that the digital well-being app and the screen time function on the iPhone are both free. Um, I'm sure there are companies that make digital well-being apps that you can pay for, but that seems a little bit silly. If we're trying to detox from our phones, we shouldn't be throwing more money at the problem, right? Especially when there's things that are free that do an excellent job. So I mentioned downtime and bedtime mode. I really like these on my phone. So these are little settings that you can set on your phone that quiet everything else. So I especially like to set this for around when I'm supposed to go to bed, um, because it just make sure that I'm not picking up my phone as much, which means I'm getting into a more sleepy state of mind. So a downtime only allows phone calls and select apps to be used while it's active, which I really, really like. And you can see on the left hand side, I have what it looks like on the iPhone. You can really set it to any schedule you want. I just kind of set mine to the same schedule every day. And I like that it still lets phone calls through. So, God forbid there is an emergency, you don't miss that call. Um, but your social media apps or shopping apps or whatever you have don't send you notifications all night and keep you up. It's just a really good way to slow down your phone usage before bed or anytime. It's really great during work too. And a bedtime mode is very, very similar. What I like about bedtime mode is that it'll actually change the way that your screen looks. Um, so I know for iPhone and Android, you can set this up where the blue light on your phone turns more yellow. Um, Sometimes they call it like candlelight mode because it does mimic candlelight, which is nicer on your eyes. It decreases eye strain. That blue light isn't affecting your sleep schedule, so it allows you to go to sleep a little bit better. You can even change it to black and white. So then no blue light, no yellow light, just black and white. And apps have pretty colors and pictures to make us more engaged. Changing your screen to black and white is a great way to get whatever information you need, but not be drawn in by pretty colors. It sounds very simplistic, but it is true. Colors really draw the eye in and keep you engaged. And when you take those colors away, it changes the way that you use your phone. So bedtime mode and downtime mode are really, really great. Again, you can change it based on a schedule. You can change if it goes to black and white or just to like a candlelight mode. You can also schedule your downtime through bedtime mode. All depends on the type of phone that you have, but both iPhone and Android have this in your settings. And if you haven't poked around your phone settings, I really recommend it. There's some, it sounds very silly and very nerdy, but you can learn a lot about how you use your phone by just poking through the settings, and you'll be surprised how much your phone can offer you for free. It's already built into your phone. You don't need to download a special bedtime mode app to get the benefits of something like this. Any questions about downtime mode or bedtime mode for your phone? Okay. So now we've cleaned up our phones a little bit. We've gotten rid of the apps we don't need. We've changed some of our settings around. We've created downtime mode for us. So we're putting away our phones. So we basically prepped it all. But now we should also enjoy our phones too. So I found this exercise through Digital Detox, which is a great website that teaches you how to bolster your internet privacy while also changing the way that you think about technology. So they had 3 questions that really made me think about how I use my phone. Um, what do you spend the most time doing on the internet, whether it's your phone, your computer, etc.? And if you want to answer these questions along with me, feel free to put them in the chat. So when I did this for myself, I thought about, what do I do most on the internet? I talk to my friends, whether through social media or like a texting app or something like that. I do shopping. um, I play games. I very rarely like watch videos or anything like that. Um, but I probably spend the most time on my phone talking to friends. Um, which leads into the next question: what parts of the internet do I like? This part was very easy to answer for myself. I like that it allows me to connect with friends, especially right now when it might be harder to see friends. Um, but then the last question really made me think: what parts of the internet do I dislike? Um, and there's, a lot. I don't like the way that social media can make me feel sometimes. I don't like that the internet can facilitate me looking up things that cause increased anxiety or help me go to sleep. Yeah, Carol likes the ability to research information. Absolutely. It's so great to think about, like, I wonder when Ida B. Wells was born, and have something at your fingertips to be able to look up something like that. That is a great part of the internet that I like. And especially as a librarian helping out you all, it's an amazing tool to answer everyone's questions. But again, like I was mentioning, the dark side of that is that anytime I'm like, oh, I have a bump on my hand. What could that be? And then 30 minutes later, I'm like, I have cancer. I have to cut off my hand. And that's not true. But the ability to find information is also tempered by the ready access to poor information or not well researched information. So the internet can do a lot of good things, and the internet can do a lot of bad things. And unfortunately, our phone has access to both of those good and bad things. But this exercise really helps you think about how you want to use your phone and not how your phone can use you. So I found these habits to start enjoying your time online, and I think they're really, really good. The first one is a little silly, but hide your phone. And I don't literally mean like hide it, but something as simple as putting your phone face down so the screen isn't facing you is super helpful. This just means that you don't see the screen light up all the time, which means you're picking up your phone less, which means you're more in the present. And so you can actually finish that book. Or you can watch a movie with your family and not be interrupted with the screen going off every now and again. Or if you want to take it a step further, put it out of arm's reach. Like if you are reading that book and your phone is distracting you, put it on the bookshelf across from you. If it's a phone call, you'll hear it ring and you can get up. But if you just feel the itch to check Facebook, you have to get up out of your chair, probably since it's cold, take the blanket off of you and go check your phone. A simple deterrent like that really, really helps out. And silence is golden. I find that putting my phone on vibrate or even silent or turning off my notifications when I really need to get the job done helps. Or, if I'm trying to relax and do something else, um, putting my phone on silent means that nothing is going to distract me other than myself, I guess. There are apps that do this for you, and you can put it on a timer. I've used an app called Freedom before. It's a app that there's a free version, but you can also pay for it that coordinates with your computer and your phone. So when you activate the Freedom app, it will silence notifications on your computer and your phone at the same time, and you can set a timer. So, say I really need to get something done, like some cleaning, you can turn Freedom on, set a timer for an hour, and be like, I cannot touch my phone. And if you try to do anything, this like green screen with a little butterfly comes and says you can't do it. I also liked this app called Forest for your phone. That one is totally free. And the way that Forest works is that you put a timer on, very similar to Freedom. It blocks everything. And every time you, it's a little manipulative, but every time you pick up your phone, there's a little tree growing, and it's like, do you really want to cut down the tree? And if you decide to turn off forest, you cut down the tree and the tree is gone. And then you'll see in your forest there'll be one dead tree. So it's a little sad and a little manipulative, but it actually works. It's super simple. You see a tree and you're like, I can't cut down the tree, and you keep not touching your phone. Which also helps go into number three, being in the moment. If you find yourself reaching for your phone, ask yourself why. Why do I need to look at my phone right now? What's compelling me to look at it, especially if you're with friends and family? Why do I need to look at my phone right now? Is it something like Carol mentioned, like a friend brought up something and I need to look it up? Or is it like I'm not engaging in the conversation right now and I need a distraction? If you do need to use your phone while you're with your friends, I think explaining what you're doing is a good way to do it. Um, you know, Especially with younger generations, it feels like they're on their phones all the time and it can feel very cold and isolating, like they don't want to talk to you. And so imagine if you do that to someone. It doesn't really feel great. So explaining why you need to use your phone is always great. Um, I like to do this thing with my friends when we go to a restaurant. We put our phones in a pile and everyone stacks their phones on top of each other. So you have to move someone's phone in order to get yours. And the first person that moves their phone that's a non emergency event, like they get a phone call, has to pay for dinner. And sometimes we go through dinner and no one does it and we split the check and everything's fine. But sometimes someone's not thinking, they grab their phone and then, hey, free dinner for you. It's a really fun and easy way to be in the moment with people. And then, like I was saying, check your usage stats. They're both available on your phone settings, how you can see you're using your phone. And think about, do you really, excuse me, do you really need to use your phone for everything like that? So if we go back to that slide, let me find it. Here it is. Um, like this phone on the in the left hand picture, they're on YouTube an awful lot. Do they really need to watch all those videos? YouTube has another endless scroll thing that I was talking about, where you watch a video and it'll play a next recommended one, a next recommended one. Should I maybe set a timer for my YouTube usage? Should I maybe just watch that one video and go back and do something else? um there are ways to think about the way that you're using this, and you might not even know that you're using it that much. And something like your digital well-being app or your screen time settings on your iPhone can really show how you are using your phone and be a little bit more mindful about how you're using it. So I do have some really great resources that I'd like to share with you. I'm going to stop my share really fast and then reshare. Will this work? Let's see. Nope, I went the wrong way. Here we go. So the Data Detox Kit is a really great website that I use all the time. I used it to research this, and I used it just to learn about digital privacy. They have a very soothing color palette and very clear instructions on how to do things. So before Bonnie was talking about changing a device name, they have a whole way of showing you how to change your Wi-Fi name, your Bluetooth name, your phone name, um, and simple things like that. I really recommend this website. It's very easy to use. You can download things if you don't want to look at it on a computer. They also have great ways. I'm so bad about thinking about new passwords. They have great ways to think about how to make secure passwords, how to be more in the moment, how to protect your internet privacy and your data in a way that is not alarming. And it's written for people of all tech levels. You don't have to be a super tech expert. Um, I actually found this data detox for teenagers extremely helpful. I thought the exercises were really great, and I didn't feel stupid or uninformed by going through it either. So I really recommend this website if you want to learn more. Um, that dark patterns website that I talked about, if you want to know more about the different tips and tricks about how people are doing it, they have a really great Hall of Shame where I pulled this from. That's their Twitter feed that shows how companies are doing stuff like this all the time. They have really great articles. But what I find very helpful is the type of patterns that people and companies use to trick us into either giving more information that we want to or even to take money. So again, it's probably the scariest out of all the bunch, but I do find that it is very, very helpful. And then finally, I thought this was such a great tool. This was made by the Glassroom New York and Firefox, which is one of the web browsers that you might use. And they made a little data detox kit. It's an 8-day detox, if you will. So if you've had friends who've done juice cleanses or detox cleanses, it's very similar to that, but this is with your phone and your computer. Um, and I did it myself. They're like little cards, so I just printed them out at the library. I did it every day for 8 days, and I found it super, super helpful. Some of it is stuff that we discussed, but they're just walking through it on a day by day basis and doing different topics every day. And it really helped, honestly. I know a lot of this is centered around keeping your information and your data private, but it made my phone run so much better. There were sometimes I'd open up a website and it'd take forever to load, but now that I got rid of some things, turned some things off, changed the way that my phone interacts with apps, it's way easier to use. And I've already noticed I spent a lot less time on it because I'm not clicking around trying to find something. So I think that's super. It's really easy. And again, all of this is free and available online. And I'd be happy to share this presentation, the links with you afterwards if you're interested in trying any of these out. But that's all I have for tonight.